motivation and truth, that's the deal. Be authentic, be bold, let your light shine bright. Together we'll grow, heal, and keep it 1000% real. Serenity, be you, stay true. Find your voice in all you do. Serenity, your space to thrive. Authentic living keeps dreams alive. Oh, yeah. Welcome to Serenity, where we keep it real. Motivation and truth, that's the deal. Be authentic, be bold, let your light shine bright. Together we'll grow, heal, and keep it 1000% real. Serenity, be you, stay true. Find your voice in all you do. Serenity, your space to thrive. Authentic living keeps dreams alive. Serenity, be you, stay true. Find your voice in all you do. Serenity, your space to thrive. Authentic living keeps dreams alive. Serenity, be you, stay true. Find your voice in all you do. Serenity, your space to thrive. Authentic living keeps dreams alive.
Well, welcome to Serenity Podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I have two guests with me tonight, and I am excited that they're here. We have Rhonda and we have Kathy, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you in just a moment. But on today's podcast, we're getting into a topic that's going to be very controversial. Everybody's got an opinion about it, but we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of Black America. And I know people are going, well, what does that white lady on there know about? Well, you know what? You would be surprised what she knows about Black owned businesses. Let me tell you, this lady is phenomenal. We played phone tag for about a month, I would say, Kathy. She would talk to my
Almost.
voicemail, then I would talk to hers. Then she would talk to mine, and I would talk to hers. So we finally got a chance to talk and have a conversation. And she just blew me away with some of the stuff that she said. So I told her, I said, you got to be on my podcast. You have to. And it was ironic that when we finally connected with each other, it was like 3 or 4 days before this podcast was going to air. So I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was divine intervention that made that happen like that. So I want to take you guys and I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. I want you to tell them a little bit about you, whatever you want them to know. And then please tell them about your business. Okay. So I'm going to start with you, Rhonda. You're at the top of my screen. You want to go ahead, Ms. Hall?
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Miss Carter. I appreciate you today. I am Rhonda Hall, owner of OCD Financial, which is a full service accounting firm that believes that obedience, character, and discipline are the three principles that will lead you to financial freedom and generational wealth. So, that's kind of across the board, whether it be finance or anything else in your life. Apply some OCD to it. I am a native of Kansas City, born and raised here, been here my entire life. My background is just very, very broad. I've been in business 11 years with a background in electricity, working for the utility for 18 years prior, and a degree in computer programming. So I'll be the first to tell you, just do what you love to do, and you can be whatever you want to be. So I'm just happy to be here this evening, be able to chat with you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And then Miss Kathy Coates Newman, can you introduce
Hello.
yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. And thank you, Miss Carter, for having me on today. It is my pleasure to be here. My name, of course, is Kathy Coates Newman. I am the owner of Kathy Coates Events. I am a small business strategist and a small business promoter. And so my heart is showing local love to businesses right here in Kansas and Missouri. I say that because, when I did my pop-up shopping events, we were all over Kansas and Missouri, even though most of my businesses are right here in Kansas City. So I absolutely love helping small businesses get up and going. So whether that's getting them strategy, from networking to vendor events, which Miss Carter is going to be in one that we're going to have here in August. Super excited to have her with us. But yeah, so that's what I love. That's my heart. I am a mother of 8 kids. I was married 32 years ago, and I instantly had 3 beautiful bonus daughters. And then we had 5 together. I'm from Salina, Kansas, moved to Wichita, Kansas for 13 years, went to Atlanta, Georgia for 3, and then back here to KC at the end of 2015, started Kathy Coates Events in 2016. And, so I absolutely I love it here. It's probably my favorite place out of all of the areas that I have lived. And I just recently started a podcast called Be Life Changers, talking about real people, real stories, and real change. So my heart is with all businesses, but I have a special heart. I am a blended family. My husband is Black, and my children are both. And so I have been there, and that's, I think, where my perspective will come from today.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies. Now, one thing you didn't do was tell people how to get in touch with you if they need your services. How do they get in touch with you guys? They just, they're going to be bombing my phone, but I'd rather not have that happen. Do y'all want them to reach out by email, phone? What's easier for you guys?
Go ahead, Rhonda. You were first. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I call them my trucker handles because they are all the same. You can reach me at my website, www.ocdfinancial.com. I'm on social media, OCD Financial, or I can be emailed at info@ocdfinancial.com. And so those are the best ways to reach me by email. And then if you want to call the office, it's 816-423-9023, but all things OCD Financial.
Love it. Mine's similar. My website is kathycoatesevents.com. That's COATES events.com. And then, of course, I have a Facebook and Instagram. Both are Kathy Coates Events. And then also Be Life Changers is on YouTube. It's Be Life Changers with Kathy Coates. So definitely go over there, check that out. You can reach me at kathycoatesevents.com. And I do have a Facebook and Instagram that's called Knowledge Networking. So if you're on the business side and want to know more about the business things, you want to jump over to Knowledge Networking. Kathy Coates Events is where I promote all the businesses. That's where people who have the heart to support local and shop with local businesses. That's where you'll find your current pop-up shopping event and fun festival to go to. So that's kind of the difference between that. But that's the only one that's a little bit different so that I can serve 2 audiences. But other than that, Kathy Coates Events.
Okay. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. And I want everybody to know I'm in partnership with Prosperity Podcast. Destiny Smith does Prosperity Podcast on Mondays, and her podcast is a safe space for people with trauma. So she's on Monday at 6:00 in the evenings, and she has some great speakers on there talking about their trauma, how they got through it and how they moved on. So don't hesitate to YouTube her, subscribe and like, and I'm sure you will enjoy the show. She keeps it interesting. Now, ladies, let's get into this topic. I don't know, God, he's amazing. I was thinking about Black-owned businesses and how much struggle they go through. And then the topic just came, pros and cons of Black-owned businesses. But when I was doing research, what I found out was, which I knew, but I didn't have the numbers down. it was I found out that Black owned businesses do play a vital role in economy and in creating opportunities within Black communities. And we also contribute to the nation's economic growth, and we foster a more inclusive and equitable partners or entrepreneurial landscape. Because a lot of times people don't mind us coming in and spending our money, but then other people don't want to come in and spend their money with us. That's been a problem for ages. And so when we talk about this, we have a lot of things to look at. We have disparity in access to capital. It's hard for them to get a loan, to get finance, to get a space, building, or whatever. And it's also harder for us. We have a higher failure rate because we'll set aside money, whether it be through a 401k from working or, just saving to start that business. But when you don't have anybody to go to say, okay, what are the correct steps to take? A lot of times we waste a lot of money trying to get it up and off the ground. So those are some of the things I want to talk about. Now, when you ladies started your business, how was it for you when you started? And you don't have to raise your hands. Anybody can go first.
Well, I will say for me, it was kind of, I would say it's kind of bittersweet, a little bit, just the circumstances in which I started my business. And so, just a kind of high level skim over of my story is that I was in corporate America for 18 years, and then my husband passed when I was 38 years old. He was 43, and this was 12 years ago, so a year before I started my business. But um, the 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 reason I say it was bittersweet is because it was during a very hard and traumatic time in my life. However, it was that trauma that pushed me to realize and to really think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and that it was more important to me to make sure that I did something that was more fulfilling for me, um, as well as to spend more time with my children. So that is what somewhat catapulted me into being an entrepreneur, where even before that, I really had no desires of being an entrepreneur. It wasn't something I grew up thinking, one day I want to own a business, I want to work for myself. I was actually okay with corporate America until that time. So I was able to kind of prepare for it, um, and decided it would take me a year. And I was like, well, in a year from now, I think I'm going to leave here, and I just want to do my own thing. I just want to work for
Mhm.
myself and for all of my other, reasons. Um, However, the blessing in it was that 8 months later, I felt spiritually released from my job. And so I didn't have to
Mhm.
wait the whole year. And literally, the Lord was like, it's okay. When I'm like, I really want to leave now. And I felt that release in my spirit. So I did. But I did plan for it. I had some time. So by the time I started my business, I had put a lot of planning into it, a lot of thought into it, even from a financial standpoint. So that's why I said it was bittersweet, where there was some trauma behind it, but it wasn't as hard, I'm gonna say, as
Mhm.
what some of the other businesses that now I help and coach around the financial piece and setting up the money and those sort of things. So I didn't necessarily experience some of those hardships just because I'm in the financial field, and so I'm
Mhm.
always planning money. But I do see how hard it can be for those who haven't planned, and it just allows me to help
Mhm.
them better because I've been there and I know what they need to do in order to transition or to get started.
Okay. Okay. And Miss Kathy, were you going to say something?
Oh, yes, yes, of course, my son is coming through. I have a son who is deaf and autistic. So if he comes in, that's what it'll all be about. I'll just let everybody
Okay.
know. They were supposed
Okay.
to be watching, but you know how that is. So
Yes.
anyway, but
Yes, I
yes,
do.
yeah, yeah. So that's the heart of my business. That is one reason I knew when all my kids had, I was a stay-at-home mom, and of course, when they got a
Mhm.
little bit older, I started venturing out. I was a personal trainer and group fitness instructor at first. And I went through that. And that's where I really started the event business. We flipped a gym in 1 year. And we did these ladies' nights out. And then all of a sudden, I was sent to Atlanta because my husband's job was either, you move or, you're surplused out and your job is completely gone. So we went to Atlanta, which was a time for me. And that's really the birth of, my business was then, because I had a lot of time with the Lord and was writing down about the whole direction. I don't know if anybody's ever had where all of a sudden everything's pulled out from under you. You think you're going one direction and all of a sudden you're going another. And so that time I spent a lot of time with the Lord, like, what is my true purpose? What is it that you really want me to do? I know my son is going to be out of high school very soon. And I don't want him to be in a home. I don't want him, he loves his family. We're a big family. We do things together. And so they all, love taking care of him. And so, and being there with him and enjoying time with him. And so I was like, what am I going to do? So when we moved here to Kansas City, I had went to eat with a friend on her birthday, and we both were in MLM companies at the time, both health and nutrition. And I was like, man, I got to get up and going. I'm looking for a job. And I had just started working where I really wanted to. I got a job at a gym. I was in sales. And so it was really cool. It's one of the really prestigious gyms here in Kansas City. So I was pretty excited about it. And so she was like, well, they have these women's ladies nights out. And she goes, but they're pretty high in demand. You got to get in right away. And I'm like, well, okay. And so she stopped and she looked at me and she goes, but I know somebody who knows how to throw a mean party. I'm like, what? She goes, let's do it. Let's us do it. I'm like, well, okay. So I'm thinking, months down the road, she calls me the next week saying, Kathy, you want to come over here to Belvoir Winery? I got to show it to you. What do you think about the name, KC Women's Events? And I'm like, what? And so anyhow, she literally was the one who kicked me out the boat because God knew I always have to have all the details, like what's going to happen next and how's that going to be paid at that time, but I'm not like that now, but back then was like everything had to be just, and so I was going slow and she was going fast. And so that's how it started. And let's just say 3 months later, we had our first event, had over 400 people at it. It was crazy. And it was so fun. And within 3 months, I had to go part-time. And in 6 months, I had to quit and I've never looked back. So that was the story of how it all started. And I got into, at first, hosting the pop-up shopping events. So called Spoil Me Silly here in Kansas City.
Wow, that is
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Now, let me ask you this. When somebody decides to start a business, an African American, I see a lot of challenges coming up. First of all, I don't think they know how to register their business because, certain businesses have to register certain ways depending on what the business is. So, how can they find out for their particular type of business how to, register? Because everybody can go to the state website and it will tell you different things about Missouri, what you need to do. But depending on the business, everything is not on that one website. How can people get insight on how to, everything they need to do before they even start? So that way they know the cost, what direction they need to go in. So they will be legally and politically correct in starting a business.
Well, I was really, because this is that's a really kind of special topic to me. Just because one of the things that I have noticed a lot, especially since COVID, is that a lot of businesses start based on a hobby or something that someone or they feel that they were super duper good at, right? And then someone says, oh, you make the bomb cupcakes. You do real well cutting lawn. And they take the hobby and they take it and they run with it. And what I found that is
Okay.
missing is really just basic understanding of business administration and really
Okay.
everything that is encompassed between you just doing something for fun as a hobby and really understanding
Hmm.
what owning and running a business means, all the way starting with how to register your business, how much it costs, what type of business entity do you even need, when do you need to upgrade, you know, versus just and all of that. To me, where they need to start with is just knowledge and education. It's about learning about it and not to just be watching 15 and 20-second clips on TikTok and
Hmm.
Instagram from some accountant firm across the nation telling you that you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to put your house and your car in your business name and you need to do and all this old stuff, but there's no basis for the knowledge. So that is what is really required, is for to get an understanding of basic business administration knowledge, how to run a business and what it takes in the financial piece, and not just what your expertise is and what you're good
Hmm.
at. You can't just be good at what you're good at. You have to know the financial piece in order to be a true business owner. And so for me, I believe it starts with gaining that knowledge and taking the time to learn it. And sometimes even not even just
Hmm.
having someone do it for you, but even asking the right questions and getting a working knowledge of what was done for you, so that you not just trusting everybody to do everything for you and then you aren't run into hiccups where somebody's done something for
Right.
you that wasn't right and then you've lost money out in the beginning.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, I totally agree.
Okay. And that's what I think that's what they refer to. Do they refer to that as knowing the numbers? So whatever your business is, you need to know the numbers for that business.
Yeah, that's knowing your numbers. And even prior to knowing your numbers, there's a research that obviously should go into your business so that you can know what to expect from your business, how much startup costs, things of that nature. So you do need to know your numbers while you in business, and there's things you can research prior to going in business. But it's also just about knowing the basics of business, even just terminology, um around
Hmm.
business,
Hmm.
period, is what's needed to know. All the
Yeah.
what's needed to be known, in all the way down to just, like you said, the entities, where to go, where to start your business, which websites to go to, where, if you got questions, where to go, just about being a business owner and not
Hmm.
just a subject matter expert on whatever your expertise is.
Okay. And Miss Kathy, you were getting ready to say
Oh,
something. What were you
yeah,
going to
no, I was
say?
like totally agreeing with Rhonda. And I even take it back just a little bit further when you were like really first starting, especially because, like she mentioned, someone saying, hey, you're good at cutting lawns or you have the bomb cupcakes, which is great. But I think the first question a person has to ask themselves, do I really want to start a business or is this going to be a hobby? Because there is a difference between a business and a hobby, and there's neither one of them, there's nothing wrong with either one. If you want to make cupcakes, once a year for, one celebration, or just here and there. But I think people think, oh,
Right.
running a business is easy. Oh, no. Like she said, it takes a lot of, because it puts you in a vulnerable state, because you're always going to find somewhere that you don't know something. So you do have to be open
Hmm.
to getting out there and getting knowledge, like you said, and not just 30-second clips here and there. But get down, get someone in, get a strategy session. Like I always say, come to me, I'll help you strategize and like show you how to promote yourself. Like, because you got to think about that as well, as your story, getting your story down and promoting and having that knowledge of, like she said, how to register your business and financials. it all is one complete circle to do at one time, so that you come out strong and have less, there could be darts coming at you, but at least they won't be hitting target. They'll be like, oh, I got that. And so, you be ducking because you're getting this knowledge through that. And I always say networking is really good too, because you find other people to surround you and be your cheerleaders, because that is the biggest thing you're going to need through business as well, is finding a group who really will support you and be your cheerleader as well. And so those are kind of she talked about all the financial, like the deep stuff, but I talk about the stuff that goes around that, like the heart. She has the thing that, that's the deep, but you also have to be surrounded with the other as well to be, well-rounded.
Okay. Do you guys have any nuggets you can throw out for them of like what groups they could contact, or who they can go to kind of get some questions answered? Because sometimes you can research and read, but then you want to talk to a live person.
Yeah. As far as accounting, I've got a couple of suggestions for that. For one, that is one of my main services that I provide around business consulting, is answering. You can actually book a whole consultation with me and come. And I always say, write down all the questions you got before you get there, so we can just go down the list. And so I actually enjoy explaining and teaching my clients the specifics of that financial side. Because I always say, if you get it with the first business, it's rinse and repeat after that. You can get it with 10 more. So I need to make sure that you get and you understand the concept of the financial piece in the business the first time. But I do offer a basic accounting class that I offer monthly. That is also on my website. And I also have a link tree too that I didn't give earlier, where you can just go and book to attend the class. It's a 90-minute to 120 minutes. So it's about an hour and a half. Can go to 2-hour course on the basics of accounting. And I start with the nitty gritty. And it's really about teaching clients the connection between what you need to get started with business, what accounting really is, how to bookkeep, and how all of that ties to taxes, which is the basis for understanding accounting in business anyway. So that would be my first suggestion, is sign up for a class and let me teach it all to you from scratch and in layman's terms. So I say that I believe that I have a gift of teaching in that area, to really simplify it. Where you may have fears of money and financial, I always scan my room in the class so I can get an idea of how everybody feels, because we know that money can be touchy, whether it's business or personal. And so I like to set a goal that when clients and students leave my class, that they no longer have that anxiety and fear around money. So I simplify it to the point that lets them know it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to stress you out either. Tax season does not have to be stressful. So yeah, you can be prepared for it.
Look, so she says.
Well, we try.
Because if if you don't have receipts and wrote down things, then kept track of stuff, it can be very stressful when she starts asking you those questions.
That's right. If you do your homework, I'll teach you a good way where you don't even have to do all that stuff, like clockwork.
Oh, goodness. Yes. There is quite a few places here in Kansas City. I know, there's places that you can get some of that. I'm trying to think of the one. I know I spoke at one called WOW, which is a women's one that you can go and they get free resources for some of that stuff. But I also, too, have several things. In fact, this week, or the 9th, which I guess that is coming up this weekend, I'm helping host a Bosses That Brunch. It's a smart business brunch. And it's with Ann Wisdom. So she does business with wisdom. And we're going to be doing a one-page business plan. So that would be perfect. If somebody is really trying to get that business started, I'm helping sponsor one of those. She's really good with the business side of things. And then I also have what we call vendor biz events. And so that's where we talk about vendor side of things, like how to promote yourself, popping
Okay.
up. And then I talk about all the ins and outs of a pop-up shopping event, because there's many things that people don't know about, like how to choose one, how not to make sure you're getting scammed, what your booth should look like, and all those types of things. Is the event even for you? Because not every pop-up shopping event is for the business that you're in. And so a lot of times
Right.
you're not going to find out that information. So I talk about that a lot. And then I also have an event called Content and Cocktails. And that's where we teach people how to use their own phone to create content, and be able to do that together. We even have a session where we do stuff together and create content together. That's pictures and reels, or pictures and video, so they can go home and make reels and TikToks and all those kinds of things. Because when we come into business, there's just so many things, and you have to be in person and online, but definitely online. And that can be scary sometimes, because you're like, I don't have all this money to like hire everybody. But it's very important to have your accountant first. Like, like there's just certain things that I had to be like, okay, I got to do this, but I can't do a social media manager yet. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I thought about those things that I struggled with, and didn't want other people struggling with that too. So I've just kind of created this big promotion. Either I promote you, or I teach you how to promote yourself. And so we do have those resources, and then other places that you can like network and then find, because there's a lot of people that do strategy that will help you get way down to even the more detailed of like how to register your business and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. And you know what? When you guys were talking, there's another organization called SCORE, SCORE, where people can go and get mentorship. They'll talk to you too about starting a business. And then the other one is called KC Gifts. That's how I
Yes.
met Rhonda, was through KC Gifts, signing up because they had an accounting, they said a basic accounting class. And it is basic. She does a thorough job. I was just confused because I didn't know you had all the many buckets and stuff that you have to do money. So I was like, okay, because most people's accounting strategy is, okay, I might have $1,000. Let's open a business bank account, put it in there. So we'll use that debit card to purchase stuff for the business, and we'll save these receipts for the accounting. Well, I'm here to tell you it's a little bit more to it than that. Okay. That was the simplified version. So I thought, but then Rhonda broke it down even further, and I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble.
Just takes a little
But
practice.
you know what?
Mhm.
It does. And it's good to go to things like that and mentorship. And I'm going to tell you, being in business, because I used to own a salon and I'm a licensed esthetician. So I used to do body treatments, facials, and things like that. And I'm going to tell you, like Kathy said and Rhonda said, don't be afraid to ask questions. You have to ask questions, because I did. And I'm going to tell our Black entrepreneurs out there, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. A lot of the good information that I got did not come from people that look like me either. I've had more mentors that do not look like me, that have helped me in business and gave me good advice. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, I'm not saying that there's not African Americans that won't help you. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm telling you is open up your thoughts and your mind. And if you pray and ask God to lead you to people to help you, they're 9 times out of 10 may not look like you, is what I'm saying. Take the advice, because you're trying to start a business and you want to get on the right track. And those people will lead you to other people that will help you. And also in business, you cannot do everything. Trust me, you cannot. And I had to learn that I could not do everything. My best thing, because I own Divine Favor Body Bar, I love mixing sugar scrubs, making body butters that are all natural and organic. But when you ask me about, okay, like the producer of this show, Destiny, she said, Miss Carter, she did my website. She goes, okay, Now we need to put pictures out there. I was like, what? She said, well, pictures of your products. I was like, girl, what does that look like? How do you set that? Listen here, I done put it in the jar. I done sealed it, got the label on. Now you want it. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to pretty it up. And she was like, it's not that hard. For you, maybe, because I'm on this side of it. And so I had to get help with that, you know. And then I have my sister came to an event with me, and she was like, I done got the tablecloth. I done got the banner that says Divine Favor. I done put it on the table. I done set the stuff out on the table, and she's looking at me and my son, and I'm like, what now? It was like, you have to make the table appealing. I was like, but I got body butters and sugar scrubs. And how do you? And it was like, mm-mm. So my son said, back up, mama. So he did it. And I was like, oh, I like that. You got a good eye for that. So what I'm trying to tell everybody is don't be afraid to get help, because you're not going to know everything. You're not going to know how to set stuff up. My sister said, where's your flowers? I said, what flowers? These are sugar scrubs. Flowers and sugar scrubs. She was like, okay, yeah, you gone over there. And so when she's at events with me, she'll tell people, no, she is the scientist of it. She don't do the pretty. They'll just tell her, no, she don't do the pretty. She do the science. And that's true. That's true. I don't do the pretty. So, and then Kathy, you'll get to meet her. She's coming with me to guard and make sure my table is set up. They just let me talk to the people.
That's okay. That's important too. You have to know how to speak to people.
And you know,
Yes, you do.
something else that's even in addition to outsourcing things and allowing people to help you do things you don't know how to do. You
Yes,
also
ma'am.
have to learn to outsource things that you do know how to do when
That is
it is
true.
not in the line of what your business is and what you could be focusing on. And so
That
even
is true.
myself learned that the hard way in the beginning, just because
Mhm.
you know, like I said, my actual degree is in computer programming. And so that's
Mhm.
what I was by trade, is, you know, like I'm a coder. And so
Mhm.
I start the business and I'm like, oh, I'll do my own website, I'll do my own flyers, because I can design, I can do all these things on a computer. Well, I realized that those things were taking time away
Yes, ma'am.
from what the business was and what I should have been working on. And so I eventually had to kind of release myself from that and say, it's okay. It is time for you now to be able to pay someone. It doesn't matter if you know how to do it. You no
Right.
longer are a coder. Yeah, that's not your expertise now. You know, your expertise
Mhm.
is over here. And so we do have to learn to even just outsource and focus on what we're good at and let somebody just help you and use their skills to do those things, even when you know how.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I agree with you. Because one thing we got to understand about owning a business is it's economic empowerment and it creates wealth. But while you're doing that, you cannot run yourself ragged by trying to do everything. You have to employ people, because somebody had said to me, I said, okay, yeah, I'm not a Facebook person. Okay. If I didn't have Divine Favor, you would probably not see me on Facebook. Okay. You wouldn't see me on Instagram and none of that other stuff. And so it's so funny. Destiny, my producer, laughs at me. My son laughs at me because I'm like, okay, y'all, wait a minute. They was trying to explain the difference between creating a story and doing a post. I'm like, that's silly. It doesn't make sense to me. And it was like, well, your story will disappear, I think they said, or either the post, something's gonna disappear in 24 hours. And I was like, okay, well then don't teach me how to do that. Teach me how to do something that's gonna stay out there, and I don't have to keep recreating it every 24 hours, because that's wasting my time. And so I said, I need to find me a high school kid that's all they do that anyway, and just pay them. Hey, this is what I need you to do, and I will just pay you to do that, because that's above my head and it just don't make sense to me. But anyway, and one of the things I find out in my community, we have a breakdown in systemic barriers. And what I mean by that, we all know the African American going through slavery type. We all know that. Okay. But what I find very difficult sometimes is when you support others and they don't support you. Now, Kathy, did your husband own a business or do a business?
No, he was in the military, and then he
Mhm.
also was an account manager for AT&T. So, and then he went into telecommunications with many other
Mhm.
companies as well. So, he never really owned his own business, but I mean, in the
Okay.
corporate world,
Hmm.
being, getting those positions and things like that, there's a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. There is really a challenge. And I would like to see us with this day and time where we're at in society is that everybody supports everybody.
Mhm.
You know
Yes.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It doesn't
Yep.
matter. It does not
Hmm.
matter your skin color. Because when Kathy and I started talking finally after we played phone tag for a while, and she was telling me things and pouring into me. And then I was telling her, well, I'm looking for a mentor. I need to do. And she said, well, I mentor. Such I was like, oh, really? And I could have had an attitude. Well, I don't want her to mentor me. It's not about color. It's about getting the information. She has information that she can help me go to the next level. I have things that I know that will probably help her. It's sharing. We got to learn how to, take each other's gifts, and that's exactly what they are. They're gifts. These are things people have been through that they can teach you something. They can help you get to the next level. Like Rhonda, she's going to kill me and I already know it, but I'm just going to be ready for it because we got to talk about that system she put me on. And because it's user friendly to her. I'm still getting used to it, and it's certain things I can't find on there. I think it done disappeared, but I probably just don't know where to look. But you know what? I'm gonna have to put my big girl pants on and sit down and talk to her. And if she fusses at me, it's fine. I'm gonna make notes. I don't mind correction. And that's something when you are an entrepreneur, you have to accept correction from people. Okay. You have to accept it. They're not gonna be mean spirited about it. But you have to accept correction because if they're no, 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 hold on. No, 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 no. That's not right. Listen. I want people to start listening to each other, hearing what's said, and then making the correction. Because if you make the correction, it's only going to help you. It's only going to help you. And that is so needed in the Black community. And then we need to start supporting each other more. Start supporting each other. And how we can do that is learn how to do business the correct way. Be honest in your business dealings, and then people will refer people to you. They will. I want our listeners to understand we opened up this topic because you know it's hard for us to get funding. The reason why we can't get funding, like Kathy said in one of the endeavors that she's in, okay, they're going to hit some topics in that one day business plan. But no one understand when you want to get capital from somebody, you're going to have a business plan. When they look at your business plan, they're going to want to know where your business is going, how you plan to make money, and they're going to want to see the numbers. And that's where Rhonda comes
Yep.
in at. They're going to want to see the numbers. If you can't give them a profit and loss sheet, of the time that you've been in business so they can see what you're doing, see how you're spending your money, you're not going to get funding. That's not going to happen. It's not. And that's why we have to learn how to do business the correct way by registering it the correct way, getting all the information. Just like Destiny was explaining to me, she said, Miss Carter, you need to get address that's info at. And I'm like, okay, what is that? I've been in business a lot, never heard that before.
Of a
She
G.
broke it down and she was
Mhm.
explaining it to me. And I'm like, well, really? So what's wrong with Gmail? She broke that down too. I said, well, look at here. I done learned something new today. So now I got to see what I need to do to put that into the works of it. So, there's a lot of stuff that go into it. And I just hope that people will reach out to you guys, give you a call, contact SCORE. contact KC Gifts. Get in front of people that's been there, done it. Because Rhonda, can you tell us how long has KC Gifts been doing this?
Since May of 2020. So this is
Okay.
so they hit 5 year. They just had their 5 year anniversary here just a few months ago. Um,
Okay.
and kind of on the line of KC Gift to being a an all free services
Yes.
business development. You can come in
Mhm.
there for free and get you can get coaching, you can get marketing, you can reserve the studio to do recordings, take pictures of your product. Like I said, you can come and get the accounting. Accounting is free. Um, you can get a number of things. They've even got free workspace in there if you just need a space to work at and meet your clients. All of that is no cost. And the reason that I give that whole list and say that it's no cost is to your point. To your point about what you were saying a little bit ago, what came to my mind was find you someone who is willing to share the
Mhm.
knowledge.
Mhm.
Um, and don't get me wrong. Now, as a business owner, you got to know that you also got to, spend money to get knowledge.
Yes.
Knowledge costs you too. Okay.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got to be ready
Mhm.
to invest. You have to even show that you're willing to invest in yourself, because
That's
turn around and
true.
get services from others, those things cost. However,
Mhm.
um, find yourself someone who is also willing to just share the knowledge. All knowledge shouldn't have to cost. And so
Right.
as a business owner, period, I think that we all have not the obligation, for a lack of better word, but you know what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say? Like, we owe it
Yes.
to another business owner, period,
Mhm.
to be able to
Mhm.
share some of the basics just so people can
Right.
do business the correct way. Some
Right.
stuff should
Yes.
just be, free or just given away as
Hmm.
your give back, just because you don't want to see another business do it the wrong way. You don't want to,
Exactly.
you want to help someone else learn from your mistakes. So if it's something
Exactly.
that you messed up and you can keep somebody from going down that path, let them learn from your mistakes. They don't have to make the same mistakes and learn it on their own. So that's what I say. Be open to share information, and just as a business owner, stop hoarding the data. Some things you can
Exactly. And see
share
that
with other people for free and give gold nuggets
Oh,
here and
yeah. I believe in the principle.
right. And
Yeah,
you know what?
go ahead. Yeah,
Mhm.
that principle
No, I was
give.
gonna say
Yeah.
yes. I agree with her 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because whatever you give is going to come back to you. I always say the more you know, whatever you give is going
Mhm.
to come back, pressed down, shaken together, running over. That's a principle. I mean, that's just there. And, and when you're passionate about something, you should want to talk and help others, That was very important to me when I started my business and my shows. I
Mhm.
was very, I probably gave too much away, probably still do, but it's okay because it's what's kept me in business. I love helping people. And, when I had events, I was very conscious about that. I wanted my room to have color. It couldn't just be, I wasn't about it. And I wasn't
Mhm.
about people talking about each other either. We just didn't
Mhm.
put up with it. Like if I heard you talking about another business
Mhm.
or,
Mhm.
they're doing this or that, or they're like me, I can't, we just didn't do with it. We didn't do a drama. We got to be there for each other to lift each other up
Right.
because, it's just important. It's important.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
definitely
It
agree.
is. And that's why it's important to have places like KC Gifts and Score where you can go get those free classes. And I would tell anybody
Mhm.
that wants to start a business, take a class on starting a business. That way you can get some fundamental points about starting a business, where you need to go register, how much the registration is going to cost, because like I said, different businesses do different things. Like when I owned my salon, not only did I had to have my esthetician's license current, I had to register with the state of Missouri. Then I had to also get a business license for the salon. And see, a lot of people think if they have their cosmetology license or esthetician license, that's all they need to hang up in there. No, 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 no. You need a business license for that location. that you're
Yeah.
opening. That's why I said
Yep.
it's important to take a class to find out how to start a business. Once you get the fundamentals on how to start it, and most of the time those classes on starting a business is going to be the basics of what you need to do to register with the state. But then you need to
Yeah.
research further to find out, okay, so I'm opening a salon, or just like in my instance, switched from a salon, closed it. Now I'm doing body butters. So even though I haven't got a storefront yet, there are still things that I need to put in place in order to run that business. So that's what we mean by researching and finding out about your business.
Mhm.
Because don't be afraid to network. Go to events to specifically network, to get
Mhm.
information so you can have access to other people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, and they can tell you how to get there. I wouldn't even be afraid to, if I was going to run a salon and it was a salon that I liked, I heard so much about, I would go visit that salon to see what they're doing and talk to that owner to find out
Mhm.
what that owner is doing. And people, please be honest. You don't have to make up a story. Tell them, hey, I'm thinking about opening a salon. I like what you're doing here. Can you give me any pointers, any nuggets that you might want to drop, anything that can help me? It does not hurt. And we have to do this in the communities. And I'm looking forward to meeting Kathy, her family, her husband, because she is a blended family. My family, Kathy, was a blended family too. My dad married an Indian lady off the
Okay.
reservation in North Dakota. And so, but my younger siblings, because we tease my dad about having three sets of children, 50s children, 60s children, and 70s children. We was like, that's why he stayed looking so young, because he had three different sets of children, three different generations coming at him. But my younger siblings, born in the 70s, they were Caucasian and Black. And when people would see us out places, we would be laughing and joking with each other. And, some people would look, they would be like, she said that to him or he said that to her. Because our big thing, we was out. Like, if my brother came out in shorts and flip flops and it's snow on the ground, and then I would
Mhm.
go, see, that's the white part. That's the white part, and you black people don't
Oh,
do that because we buttoned up like Eskimos. And then he was like, "What are you talking about?" And then he would say something about me, and we're laughing, and people didn't know that we're sister and brother, and that's how we do each other. But you couldn't say something to one and the other one not be, wait, no, you can't talk to her like that or talk to him like that. And that's why I'm excited about meeting you and meeting your family, because we're all people. People need to
Yes.
understand we're all people. If you cut, we're all gonna bleed red. We're gonna bleed
That's right.
red. So it
And
doesn't
then be
matter.
there for each. Yeah, and be there for each other. With me being in the, I've been around a lot of people, especially in business. When you're in the event, like when you're in the event industry, like myself, especially doing the pop-up shopping events, I get the pleasure of meeting many, many, many businesses. And
Mhm.
everything from mowing lawns to financial to services and body butters and scrubs. I mean, absolutely everything. And watching, really trying to build a community, and that's super important to me. That's where that Be Life Changers came in, because what we do is we all are life changers. Everything we do, and it should change people's lives. And the one thing I found, was so hard is when they would come to me for advice, and feeling that, wanting their own community to um, sometimes give them support, which I think is what we need. We need to support each other. It doesn't matter our color, but then again, within our own community support, like not being jealous of each other.
Mhm.
I had some people get
Right.
real with me, and I mean, Carlene had this conversation, and it's a tough conversation to have. And I said, I don't know the
Yes.
answer to it,
Yes.
but it breaks my heart. but I'd have ladies come to me and be like, man, my product is so good and I can come over to Johnson County and, where all the white people are, and they'll buy my stuff and they'll give me tips. They never say I'm too expensive. And then I'll go to my own, Black friends and they're like, I'm going to go over here and get it cheaper. Get, my eyelash is cheaper over here at whatever. You're too expensive.
Right.
And just shut them down. And it would just break my heart when I hear stories like that over and over and over again, especially when I know, because I've been, I don't know it all, but I do. And I have seen that it is real. It's harder sometimes in the Black community. There is a thing as white privilege. It's real. I don't care. I've seen it. And I'll say it over and over again. I know it's there in certain places. And so, to me, it's like, how can we come together? Where is the root issue of this, so that we can all grow? Because I know my kids, I worked super hard on the outside to put them in private schools. So they went to Christian schools. And the first thing they would come home and tell me, and this is not necessarily a color thing, but an economical thing. But they said they would go over to their, places where the families are millionaires and stuff. And they were all sitting at a table learning about business. I mean, like, they learned a lot from, educating kids around a table about business. And they're already, having accounts and I know, about, I'm talking about, Rhonda, setting up their kids for success. And I'm thinking, where can we blend this and start educating and turning it around so that we can, because the more division we have, all that does is keep us in poverty. It only keeps us, divided. And so where can we, it's a tough issue. I know, but it's just that it just breaks my heart.
It is.
I will add to that.
Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to add.
No, I was going to say.
I think it's a little bit of a delay. Go ahead, Carly.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to add just real quick to that piece about being supported by our own, and also being able to to sell wherever you sell. And this is just an accountability piece. But this is just being transparent and completely honest, right? When you go in, when we go into business, we also need to keep in mind that our business doesn't have a color. So you can't come out the gate with this with this expectation per se. If you limit yourself, you're going to be limited. Let me just put it like that.
Yeah.
So when you keep the mindset that that money is green, and that your customer and your client, now don't get me wrong, you can have you can specialize with our own culture. Now, a lot of my clients are obviously Black clients. I feel like I feel like I'm one of the better ones for them. Why? Because I can relate to my clients, because we know that business is not just about making a dollar. Business is about making a relationship. And so, so it's important to build the relationship with your clients. And so if your clientele is easier to build a relationship with because you relate to culture and that sort of thing, that's great. But at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that money's green. Your clients could be anybody. And you also have to present yourself in a way that is acceptable to everybody. You have to look like you are open for business to everybody. And so, so we have an obligation as a business owner to just present yourself available and open to whatever group of sales you get, whatever culture, whatever race. You have to present yourself accordingly as well.
Right. And you know what? I agree with both of you. And another thing I want to add to that is you got to keep in mind, as an entrepreneur, when you're building your business, you're setting your prices. There will be people that will say, oh, well, that's too high. I can go over here and get it. Let them go over there and get it, because that's a poverty mindset. Like Rhonda said, you are in business. Money is green. Let me tell you, Rhonda's seen my products, and I've Kathy's only seen pictures of them, but she'll get to experience them when I get to her event. When I go to the events, I let people try my products. I have some that are testers if they can try that to see what they like. There are some that'll walk away like, and that's okay. That's okay. I don't have any problem with that because then there's others that come to my table. They be like, "What?" I had one lady tell me, she said, "Oh, that's too high. You need to raise these prices." And she was a Caucasian lady. She said, "You are too low." And I said, "Thank you, for her feedback." And we talked, but I set my prices. And some people like, "Oh, well, that's a little high, $40 or $50." If you have a gift basket, you're paying 40, 50, $60 for it. You got to look at the products that you're putting in there. For example, my 4-ounce products are like $15 a piece. But if you got the body butter, the sugar scrub, you done added a loofah, you done decorated the basket, look at the paper that you had to put, you have to take all of that. So you can't sell that basket for $10 to make somebody happy. If it's a $50 basket, that's what it is. That's what it is. You don't discount your worth because that you have to understand when you're an entrepreneur, it's your time. It's your time. When you go to a job, they pay you hourly for your time. As an entrepreneur, you need to get paid for your time. So don't feel bad about it because there are people out there who's going to see value in you. They're going to see value in your product and they're going to buy it. Trust me. They're going to buy it.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad about that at all.
And value.
No.
Right. And if you sell more in Johnson County than you can in Jackson County, go to Johnson County. Go to Lee Summit. Because obviously they see the value in what you're doing. Don't cry because as long as you're doing business and you're doing it correctly, you keep your hand in God's hands. He says you can do all things through Christ, which strengthens you. He's going to send those people that want your product. So I wouldn't even worry about those people that say it's too high. I wouldn't cry at all, and I would keep it moving. Keep it moving. Now, guys,
and you know what? When
I usually only stay on. No, go ahead, Rhonda. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say that when you kind of talk about the pros and the cons of having a Black business, especially from a standpoint, what you were saying just reminded me. When you say, if you get more sales in Overland Park, if you get more sales in Lee Summit, then then go spend there. One of the cons in having a Black business and possibly being, in the inner city, one of the cons is the fact that you may not get as much traffic because there's just more traffic in those other areas that you mentioned, which then forces you to have to go outside of your general sales area, which is one of the things that Gift, the reasoning behind the formation of the organization Gift was to grant funding to businesses right in a specific zip code that were underfunded in the inner city to help build those businesses. And that's why their grants are only for a specific location the businesses have to be in. But that's for part of that reason, to help those businesses to grow. Because a lot of times that is one of the cons, is that people have to go outside of where their business has started in order to get business, because there's just kind of a lack of traffic and that sort of thing. But but that's just part of it. That's just part of it. You have to go where the sales are, and where your value is appreciated.
Right.
Sure. And one of the things too, when I'm in the inner city and I'm talking to people, I don't try to be funny, but I try to give them examples that will hit home. And I'll tell them, okay, you say my product is too high, but you have cable that you're paying $200 a month for. Do you tell cable that it's too high, or do you pay them? I hit them, try to hit them between the eyes with the truth. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I want you to think about what you're saying to me. You're telling me my product is too high. But if you wanted to go see Beyonce and her tickets is $200 a pop, you're going to pay that $200. You're not going to get a chance to talk to her. You're not going to get her personal number. You're going to be in the nosebleed section and you're going to see her from a distance. But I'm presenting a product to you that can help you. You got my direct phone number, you got my email, but yet you're telling me it's too high. See, those are the kind of things that I call poverty mindset. And you have to be aware of that. Now, not everybody in the inner city is like that, but you do have a few people that are like that. And with those people, you just have to still treat them like you would anybody else, but you can't change that mindset. See, people with a business mindset, they understand and they will pay your value and what you're worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Now, ladies, do you have anything else you would like to say to the audience?
well, you're like,
Go ahead, Miss Kathy.
oh no, I know that's fine. No, I was just like, that's it's all right on. We spend money where what is important to us. What's important to us is where we spend our money, and so you have to take that with a grain of salt. That's what I was going to say, is just to add the rest of that, there with that. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's a very important topic. I'm glad. Thank you, Carlene, for hitting some of
Yes,
those hard topics, because like I said, we don't go anywhere if the lack of communication. If we can't get together and communicate and talk about the issues and how we feel and break it down, we're not going to grow. We're not going to get anywhere. And, so it's very important that we get together and have these tough conversations, because, that's how we grow. That's how we grow.
Yeah, that is exactly how we grow. And it's sad because I've seen, my cousin was one, and then there was another guy that went to my church. They opened up shops where you could go in, just like, instead of going into a Chinese shop buying your hair care products and your wigs, they opened up one. One was up north in the Gladstone area. My cousin's was out in Blue Springs, but people would pass them and go into the Chinese shops. And I'm saying, people, what's wrong? What's wrong? You pass them to go somewhere else. It's time for us to support each other.
Yes.
Support each other. And so you have to look at the dynamics of things. And like I tell entrepreneurs, when I'm talking to Black entrepreneurs, I said, you have to look at the Black community. I said, why is it that there are businesses open in the community that don't look like you and you support them? When you open a business in the community, they don't support you. I'm not trying to create racism. What I'm trying to do is bring an awareness to what's going on. And you need to pay attention to that, because it's time for everybody to come to the table and be fair across the board.
Yes. I agree.
It's time for that. It's time out for, oh, well, we're going to do this in your community, but we're not going to support you. No. It's time to change that.
Yes.
It's time to change it.
Yeah.
And so I am about change. I love people. I don't care what color you are. You could be green with purple polka dots. I don't care. I love people, and I want everybody do well. But we have to stop, like Kathy was saying, the white privileges and then the Asians cornering things. No, it's time to be fair with everybody. If they got, this shop over here where I can go get my hair care stuff, I'm gonna go over there and get it.
Right.
I'm gonna go get it, because we all have to support each other. And when you do business fairly and support each other, watch how God opens the doors for you. Watch how he opens the doors and pours out blessings that we don't have room enough to receive. And he will start connecting you with different people that's going to move your business along.
That's right.
That's it.
So true.
Yeah. Now I want to thank both of you ladies. I want to thank you both for taking the time to talk to me. And trust me, I'll be talking to you guys offline.
Yes. Well,
Rhonda's laughing because I already know I'm in trouble.
I'm gonna work with you.
And Kathy, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I know. I'm looking forward to having you too. Tell everybody, come to the Sip Shop and Shine on the 24th It's going to be at Hometown Olathe Family Farm. From 2 to 5 p.m. You definitely want to be there. Charlene's going to be there. We're going to be popping up. If you want a booth, there's still a few places open. So shout me out. Or if you're a brick and mortar and you want me to come down and shout your business out, that's what I do. Let's get your business some recognition. Let's shout you out so people know how to come down and shop with you. You got to get it out there.
That's excellent.
Yes, yes. And I'm going Divine Favor is also going to be in Liberty. Liberty's doing a sip and shop
Okay.
on August 7th, this Thursday. So I'm going to be in Liberty in More Excuses is the name of the shop that I'll be in. And they will get to come and they can try Divine Favor,
Right.
the body butter and sugar scrub. And I'm also doing beard oil and beard balm for men. Because a lot of women say, they have men that have beards and mustaches and stuff. And I come on by, I got that covered too. I got our braid and lock people covered too. I can hit them all, but it'll be fun to see the sip and shop.
Yeah.
So you guys are welcome to come over to Liberty. I think it starts at 5:00.
Okay.
I'll be out there enjoying myself. I get to meet more people and talk to them. So that's what I'm excited about.
Well, I'll
I'm
come
very
take some
excited.
coverage of that.
And
too.
Rhonda,
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Definitely. I'm taking notes.
Okay. Thank
Rhonda's
you.
taking notes.
Okay.
All right, Rhonda, you and I will go to the one in Liberty together.
Yes,
I don't have to work that day, so we
Oh,
can hang out.
good. Hey, I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, y'all can come on and sip it.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
sip
wait a
and
minute.
shop.
Everybody gonna be sipping and shopping.
We'll
I'm
be
gonna be
sipping and
working. I just have to
shopping.
think about that. I ain't gonna be able to sip and shop. I'm gonna have to work.
You're gonna be the only one working. We all
But that's okay.
Yeah, we're not working. We're sipping and
Yep.
shopping.
That's what I'm saying. And that's okay. But I really appreciate you ladies. I usually only like to hold about an hour because, that way we can get in, we can say what we got to say, and we can get out without dragging it out. Do you guys have any nuggets or anything that you want to leave, to the viewers? Anything you want to say to them? Any words of advice?
Yeah, I'll just circle back around to the beginning, and I will just reiterate, being a business owner can be a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing, but do your prep work. Do what you need to do before just jumping into it. Get as much knowledge as you can. Make sure that you have learned every area of business that you need to, whether that is the networking, learn about networking, learn about marketing, get with Miss Kathy, learn those specifics, all the important things, the divisions of having a successful business. Anything you do, you need to invest in and take the time to learn about it, including learn about your money. So I would just say that just take the time to prepare correctly and get the people you need that will help you learn what you need to have a successful business.
Yes, and I would add to that, do it afraid. It might look scary. I know when you have to admit that you don't know something or you have to go get that knowledge, sometimes it can be overwhelming, but I say do it afraid. Jump out the boat. Don't look back. Just fall forward. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Just fall forward. And what that does, it means you get back up and you do it again and you get back up. But and like Rhonda said, prepare, and then you're going to have a wonderful experience.
I agree. I definitely agree with both of you. And I'm coming on Serenity Podcast. And I look forward to continue working with both of you, networking and seeing if we can get more people on the right path. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, I love it. Yes, I appreciate both of you too. Have a good evening, and I will be talking to both of you soon. And that's it, guys, for the Serenity Podcast. Bye. We'll see everybody later. Thank you.